Welcome to Cosmic RX Radio, a podcast that gives you real-life tools of spiritual empowerment and pure hype. I'm your host and intuitive guide, Madi Murphy. This week, the sky is saying something very clear and very loud, and I want us all, myself included, to listen. You are not meant to do this alone. This moment in time, but also this whole journey of being a human. Hello, my loves, and welcome back to Cosmic RX Radio. I am your guide, your host, your high vibe hype woman, Madi Murphy. Welcome back. Last week's episode, I know I was like, oh my gosh, I am at capacity between, the big workshop for the year leading up to the Kripalu retreat and then just the news and Santino sleep progression. I was like, oh my gosh. So thank you all for being so cool. And also thank you for being cool because you're supportive, but also because, my sisters, my two fire signs, they were like, well, if anybody has a problem with it, they can talk to us, basically paraphrasing. But that's why this is why I move through the world in the way I do, because I have just like the best team behind me in my sisters. And if you are someone, you're like, Maddie, I don't have that kind of family. That's why I'm here. That's why Cosmic RX is here to be that for you, because it just hits different, especially in these times, especially, as a woman or basically anyone besides a white cisgender straight man. We need to be there and support and encourage each other. And that is part of the astrology of this moment. I just gave my teaser from the sky, but I want us to really take a breath and realize if you're here, you're feeling a lot. If you're here, it's because you're heart centered. It's because you're sensitive, you're curious, you're a mystic, which means that you're paying attention to the world right now and you're like, oh my gosh, how do we get through this? And I like to tell people, if it feels like we're cooked, we're not cooked, we're cooking. We're cooking. There's a lot of new energy being birthed onto the planet right now. But with that, there's also a lot of decomposing energy. And no matter what it is, it's a lot. Okay. If you've been here for a minute, I've been talking about the revolution for a minute, revolutionary times. We ain't going back the way we came. And if anybody was denying it, I think 2025, 2026 had it land right square, right, for all of us. But if you've been here for a minute, you've been preparing, right? And so part of one of the major guides and tools that I rely on in these unprecedented times is astrology, and not to get any kind of certainty. There's no magic map that's going to take everything from us, but it can teach us a lot about how to show up for this moment, how to show up for each other, and what our role in this revolution is. I love this shit so much. So let's get into it. Big sister to you, your big celestial sister. I'm going to give you a little planetary pep talk. We're going to have a few moments together, for the next half hour, just to laugh and giggle and be weird and cackle. And then we're going to dust each other off, give ourselves a big hug, a pat on the bum, and get back out there and be the light that is so needed in this world. So speaking of big sister energy and all things Virgo, or is that just in my head? I was thinking of it. Let's just get into our Virgo announcements. The big announcements for right now, I would say, is if you are, whether you're in a WTF moment or whether you're in a moment of I'm feeling a lot of potential and things I want to do this year, from whatever angle you're feeling the energy, it's a year to know the collective astrology, to know your astrology, to have that awareness so you can really trust your timing, trust your patterns, trust your, I don't know, maybe call to leave the cosmic zone or to leave the comfort zone for the cosmic zone. Oh my gosh. I recommend getting the replay of our 2026 year ahead forecast slash funcast. You're going to learn all about why I am declaring this the year of the sacred party girl. It was 2.5 hours. We get into everything, the macro, larger collective moments we're in, what it means for us, what it means at the time of history. We get into the, chronological order of the year. If you're planning things, whether it's launches or vacations or whatever, you might get some juicy insight there. And every big transit has some sort of Mad Lib. So you could see, what does this actually mean for me based on my chart? And then I went full ham, full Virgo psycho, and put together a whole PDF that's, I don't even know how many pages, 50 pages. So you can really see the major transits for your sign, what they mean, and really use this as a map. I'm very passionate about doing these year ahead forecasts every year. Every year they've been like, let's look ahead for the year. And I want to teach you guys that we're in collective moments of change, like especially since 2020. I really wanted to let everyone know, like, go dream a new dream. We're not going back the way we came. We're moving forward. This year, I was like, I think we understand that we're in revolutionary times. Gulp. Instead, now I want to really focus my energy in that workshop on how do you show up as the best version of you. That's self-development, self-empowerment. So go check that out. I've gotten such amazing feedback on it. People, just leaving with way more hope and hype and clarity and confidence than when they came in. And that is always my biggest intention, right? This is not like vague horoscope energy. This is not pop astrology. This is like timing, themes, mindset shifts, tools, practical guidance, things you can actually use. Okay. So if you're ready for some context, for some strategy, for some just like soul level like anchoring into the next year, check that out. It's available in the show notes. It's available through the Cosmic RX Astro Academy. And then the other announcement is if you're listening to this before Tuesday at 3 p.m. Eastern time, come hang out. Come hang out. We're going to be doing a new moon in Capricorn call, but so much of what today's astrology is going to be about that I'm speaking about for the next week, but really the next month, really the next year, really the next 20 years is community. You've been hearing me talk about it nonstop. We need community. We need connection. And we really see why now, because we have to fortify each other. We have to lift each other up. We have to dream new dreams together. So if you want to use this upcoming new moon in Capricorn to manifest in a group, we're going to be doing that on Tuesday and a lot of people have off or have their kids on Monday. So it's going to be Tuesday at 3 p.m. Come, even if you don't know what you're manifesting, if you did her work with the moon. Working with the moon is essentially just an excuse, a built-in calendar date to hang, to kiki, to connect, to cry, to laugh together, to really show up for each other and to receive something for yourself. So if you're interested and you hear this before Tuesday, come hang. Okay, so we get into the moon. Let's talk about the moon. Who wants to talk about the moon? Me. So again, if you're newer here, if you need the reminder, the moon changes signs every 2.5 days. And with that, we get an energetic shift. So this is like our emotional weather report. So on Monday, January 19th through Wednesday morning, the moon's in Aquarius. So much this whole podcast is like brought to you by the sign Aquarius. We are about to enter the most Aquarius season of all time. And of course, the moon like ushers us in. Things we're going to do this day to feel good. We're going to zoom out. We're going to think bigger. We're going to connect with people who remind you of your values. Like, come hang out with us. This is great energy for brainstorming, community conversations, and remembering that your feelings are valid even when they are complex. Always, always, always. The thing that we're not going to do is we're not going to emotionally detach to the point of disassociation. Sometimes Aquarius moon energy is like, let's pull back, so we don't even feel our feelings anymore because, those are so messy. Aquarius moon energy, we actually do better when we stay in our humanness, okay? When we stay in our softness, in our connection. Wednesday, January 21st through Friday afternoon, the moon was into Pisces. This is my moon sign. So I always feel like I'm like, welcome to my house, everyone, when we're here. The things we're going to do these days, rest, feel, create. If you need to, listen to a really good playlist to get you in your feels, pull cards. This is intuitive energy. This is open energy. Pay attention to your dreams, body signals, those subtle or not so subtle emotional nudges or cues. Thing we're not going to do is try to power through, overextend. Pisces sometimes can like like equate everyone's feelings with their feelings. And with Pisces, we have to remember that boundaries are part of our magic too, right? Very important part of our medicine. Friday through Sunday, we close the week with an Aries moon weekend. So things I want you to do, move your body, take action. God, like Aries energy always reminds me of that, of just the heat and the power that comes from initiating something, the courage that we remember, the empowerment, the I empower energy that we can remember and bring back into our bodies when we move, when we do something. The thing we're not going to do on Aries moon days is pick fights just for fights' sake. Again, We're not going to, blow up. We all have sacred rage right now. We're going to channel that into art, into movement, into community grassroots organizing, right? Channeling that fire with intention. That's to the weekend. So we can get out and do some really cool things this weekend. Okay, planetary planning. Let's talk about this bigger picture because the planets are doing the most. And the astrology this week is very powerful and it's going to give us a lot of things to understand, like our assignment for February and some of the larger assignments we might have for the year. Okay. So January 19th, the sun moves into Aquarius to February 18th. And when the sun, the giver of all life, illuminates the sign of Aquarius, we feel that next level of collective energy taking the wheels. This is not the time, the next 2 weeks, to prove yourself in isolation. Say, I can do this all alone. This is about collaboration, community, shared purpose, right? Ask yourself, who are you building with? Who reflects your evolving ideals? My dear friend Colin of Queer Cosmos wrote an amazing piece on this astrology for this month on them.com and said, like, let's not forget the social and social justice. So it's like, we're not meant to go this alone, right? We're not meant to do this alone. But who are the people who we can get involved with who reflect our values, our evolving ideals? Aquarius is also a visionary energy. It also rules innovation systems. So you might find some things coming this Aquarius season that helps you in supporting your community, streamlining collaboration, or helping bring some of your visions to life. Okay. There's a lot in our minds this month around progress, sustainability, impact, humanitarian efforts. And this is what we have to remind is that our work contributes to the greater good. So this might be months where you might have scheduled times to call your local representatives, donate to the food bank, get involved with, there's lots of organizations now that are creating coalitions around protecting their, most vulnerable populations from ICE. There's so much happening. And this is just an energy to like do something, even if it feels small, especially if it feels small, do something. Aquarius also reminds us that our energy, like our lines, our frequency, the energy is coming off of us is what is creating our collective energy. Being the change you want to see in the world isn't just something nice that Gandhi said. It's like, can I dismantle and deconstruct unhealthy things within myself? Can I show up in my local community, in my interactions online? The more of what I want to see in the world, right? Okay, so this same day, Venus just moved into Aquarius as of, I think the 18th. I can double check. But then because of that, we enter this Saturn in Aquarius. Again, we're really jumping into the Aquarian deep end here. Let me get the exact date. Yeah, Venus moved into Aquarius on 17th. So then Venus and Pluto meet up on January 19th. So this is a big day about maybe like meeting chemistry, connections that go deeper. This is a great time to bring truth up to the surface when it comes to love and money. This is a great time to notice who can handle your depth, your integrity, who is also there in support of your values, right? And this segues into on the 20th, trines Uranus. So when Mars trines Uranus, this is like big ideas want to move fast. I think we're going to see a lot in this week, strategy, action on the collective, kind of coming back against the powers that be. And what we do internally is this whole time of the year until February 17th is about strategizing, setting ourselves up for success. If you came to my workshop, you heard me talk about it, but this is the time we want to really lay the groundwork, lay like the pipe for an amazing year. So if you want to think about around this time, like something might be picking up for you, pay attention. What are the systems you need to sustain it? What does your nervous system need, right? What do you need to bring your vision to life in a way that actually feels good to you? On the 20th, Mercury was into Aquarius. Do we see like how much is happening in Aquarius right now? So this is our communications become collective. The ideas that are going to resonate, the things that are going to go viral, the messages that are going to land are the ones around collaboration, using your voice in service of something beautiful, meaningful, standing with others, and like really thinking that higher mind, that visionary Aquarian energy. On January 21st, the Sun Mercury come together for a Kazemi. And I just say this, circle this, because when the Sun and Mercury comes together, we get a collective genius moment in Aquarius. And for all of us, we get some kind of aha. So pay attention to what happens. Imagine some some kind of breakthrough, some kind of solution oriented conversation happening this day. And for you, pay attention to your downloads. They are like a lightning bolt coming right from source to you to activate something, to empower something within you. And then on the 23rd, Mars enters Aquarius. So are we keeping track? We have Sun in Aquarius, Venus in Aquarius, Mercury in Aquarius, and now Mars in Aquarius. So we had a lot of that Capricorn Cazimi, Capricorn stellium, for the end of December into early January. And we felt it. Capricorn in the shadow energy can be kind of oppressive. It could be old school. It could be patriarchal. The US is a Cancer sun, the opposite Capricorn. We feel a lot, right? And starting this year, right, with the Cancer full moon, we felt the year go into like shadow Capricorn. I'm calling in, I'm manifesting during this Aquarius energy. We experience some of the conscious energy of Aquarius. The future is ours. The key in my book, where we get to think about, inspired action, meeting community, owning your inner quote unquote freak, to let your freak flag fly, to help others, to own your radical authenticity, to liberate yourself, to liberate others. From January 23rd to March 2nd, this is going to be like what is going to motivate us. We are moving from that rugged and somewhat, I would say, very much so toxic individualism to mutual resilience and mutual reliance. This is a time to invest in your communities, local or online. You are going to feel more alive, more energized. You're going to feel like you're flying when your action serves something longer than yourself. This is collective energy. Again, Colin talked about this in the them.com article. He's such a beautiful writer. He talked about the idea of collective effervescence. And I think about this a lot, like that energy of listening to music by yourself in your car versus going to a stadium of people listening to music, what that does for you, right? It's praying or listening to like worship music. If anyone went to church by yourself, doing it in a church or temple, like how that moves you. There is something that the larger energy carries us. And we want to think about that, especially during those dates, January 23rd to March 2nd. Then we're going to have that same day as Sun Pluto Cazimi, which is always fun. Lots of power dynamic things coming up to the surface. And, as we go into wrapping up the week, the big final thing that I want you to think about is on January 26th. Neptune moves into Aries. Now, this is pretty big. This is huge. This is, Neptune moving into Aries for the long haul through March 2039. We've been in Neptune in Pisces since roughly 2011. We had a small dip last year. I go into all this in the workshop, but this is a generational shift towards us taking empowered spiritual action. I said, this is the time now. What is going to be rewarded is moving from navel gazing, me, and my problems, and I need to be healed and my childhood wounds, and this to now moving into trailblazing. How do I take that and go out and be a warrior and move? The last time Neptune was in Aries, we saw things like abolition, women's suffrage, industrial upheaval, war. We definitely saw war. This is times of deep disruption and courageous change. Neptune is like bringing us into a heart-centered spiritual dissolving, while Aries is initiating. And then we have this all is going to really come into big play on February 20th. When we have a once in a many, many millennia circumstance of Saturn and Neptune coming together at 0 degrees of Aries. But first, I want us to think about 5 things I want you to reflect on of how you can embody this, because we always know with the astrology, when we embody it, we get to surf with this energy. We get to fly, we get to flow versus feeling like WTF, right? Or getting hit with a wave or feeling like we're drowning. So this is a time, one, when spiritual movements become action-based. We take things to the street. 2, we think about social change accelerates through courage, not comfort. This is not the time to be the good girl. This is not the time to play it safe. This is not the time to be following the rules or orders. 3, old identities dissolve so new leadership can emerge. Okay, there's a dissolving of old ways of being, old labels, old shoulds, old restrictions. So new leadership. This is Neptune and Saturn and Aries is bringing one of the biggest changes in leadership in not just our lifetime, but in many lifetimes. Technology and ideology will evolve rapidly, and empathy must be paired with bravery. I've been thinking about this a lot last year, Saturn and Neptune Aries, I was like, "Ooh, like, definitely feels like military. It feels like war." I could feel like, militarization of our society, which we're absolutely seeing, with ICE being used for state sanctioned violence that is so out of the realm of the Constitution. And I want to speak to that. But I also like the downloads I was having at Kripalu was really like, oh, and they're also really scared of us because the Saturn and Aries, Neptune and Aries of it all is like we're starting to show up. We're saying, this work of realizing the dissolving of how connected we are, we're showing up. Whether that's through social media, whether that's through empathy, or whether that's through realizing like, oh, right, there are so many more of us than there are of them. And I just can't let this go down on my watch. I think that a lot of these plans, this current administration slash regime had in mind was really banking on us being so broke, so broken down, so isolated, so selfish because they're selfish. They didn't realize that we've been training spiritually since 2011, and now we're ready to open, right, that can of whoop ass, but also being in our whimsy. It's a very interesting time. So as Neptune goes into Aries, I want you to think about acting on your compassion. Don't just feel it. Don't let it overwhelm you. The action is going to feel good. I want you to let your intuition guide bold decisions. I want you to protect your energy too, because burnout is not activism. So many activists I know, especially ones that I had met in my Brooklyn coffee shop in 2017, 2018 time, they had burnt the F out, and that is not helpful to anyone. I want you to create spiritual practices. A lot of what's happening, I do believe, is spiritual warfare. So what are spiritual practices that we can do to dismantle harmful systems from within? And also spiritual practices for you to support courage, because I want you to think about what is your soul being called to initiate. There's new paths, new businesses, new art, new ways of making money, new ways of communicating and communing that are coming forward. Okay. So I want you to pay attention to what that is. And no one knows your role but you. This is such a time to live out, like I talked about in the 2026 webinar. This isn't like your brand relaunch time, or you probably already know your brand, like your new rebrand. This is a time where you're really bringing it out now unapologetically. It's a sacred moment to align action, ambition with spirit, with soul. Okay. So just continuing to ask the universe, what is your assignment for me? Right? What am I here to do? What am I here to say? Not just what I want to achieve, but who am I being asked to serve? Okay. We are doing this. We are in the age of Aquarius. We've been there for a minute, but we're in the real Pluto and Aquarius of it all. This is a very pivotal year. And I just like to remind everyone, like, you were born on this time, in this time, on purpose, with purpose. Your ancestors, your whole life and the lives before you led you to this moment to be here. So you're here for a reason, right? You're here to bring some sort of healing, creativity, justice, new energy, innovation, leadership to your life, but to our larger collective, with each other, through each other. It's how we stand, right? And just allow yourself to be multiple things during this time. We can be soft, we could be strong, right? We could be strategic, we could be spiritual. We can have boundaries, but still be in our belonging. We can stand alone in our uniqueness and stand together in our unity. Okay. So we're choosing connection without self-abandonment, courage without cruelty, leadership without ego. This is the way. This is what we've been training for, what we've been waiting for. This is the cosmic revolution, and you're needed here. Your voice matters, your vision matters, your visibility matters, and just your presence and your energy can shift things on such a deep level. So I'm sending you all of this with so much love. I hope this ignited something in you, activated something in you. I will see you next week. And until then, I'm going to be wrapping you and all those big ass blessings for some big fat juicy checks, cash in those, and some hot fulfilling toe curling sex. Okay. Until next week. Do you love getting your Cosmic RX for the week here and want more? Make sure to sign up for our premium subscription so you can get exclusive access to bonus podcast episodes, all of my astrology info for the month ahead, and live new and full moon calls to help you manifest your dream life with an intentional international community of other cosmic baddies. Sign up through our link in show notes. Thank you so much for listening to this episode. If you want to know more about Cosmic RX, head on over to thecosmicrx.com.
And if you really love this show, I'd love it if you left a rating and review on Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen to podcasts. I super love hearing from you and reading your reviews. All right, you cosmic baddie, tune in next week. And until then, remember, love yourself fully, work your magic, and take no shit.